Okay, let's give this a try. So we're going to be looking at this Mark V, and I just have to test it. I have a rough idea, but you never know. So, Gemini. So you can't see, but there is a mixer just there. How are we doing for audio? Can you hear me okay? So we plugged into the mixer and we plugged into the trip switch. Blue LEDs, nice. It's the first time that I've worked on one of these. So we think that there's a problem with the bearing. So we're going to use the single-sided record. Turn on's a little bit loose. So let's set the weight back. Let's tweak that a little bit. Yeah, that turn arm's not looking very good. So that should be moving into the middle, and it's being pushed back out, and I can already see that part of the bearing is missing, so somebody's had a go at this. It's not off. So there's no movement on that at all. So I'm going to have to take that apart and have a look. But let's check everything else. Pop up is okay. Start and stop. It's okay. 33 and 45 is okay. Phono cables are okay. pitch looks alright. Lifter is okay. And the height adjust is okay. Hi Mr. Percival, and hi Mike. Yeah, this is a test run of the live stream. I'm trying to get set up so that it's always in place. It's kind of difficult. I don't want to have to buy loads of stuff, so just using what I've got at the minute. And I've got a lapel mic, but I can't get it to sync with the video from the capture. The capture device is way out compared to everything else, and I can adjust the delay on the video, but I can't adjust the delay on the audio, so that's something that I need to sort out. And also want to use my other camera where I can zoom in, but I can't get power to it up on the little thing that I've made. So so now that we know what's wrong with this, we need to take it apart. We want to put that to one side, and while we're at it, let's give this a quick wipe down. If somebody that's watching, just let me know if the audio is coming through okay. Like I say, I'm just using the microphone built into the camera. It's not the best, but it sounded alright when I listened to a quick recording. Right, let's flip this over, get it back into shot. Thanks for letting me know, Mike. Okay, let's get this in a place where the cameras can still see. Like I said, this is the first time that I've had a look inside one of these. Mark V. Let's had a go at that. There's some flux on there. So that just lifts off. So next we're going to disconnect the phonos. So take the screws out, take those screws out, and just screwdriver under there. That flips off. So we want to turn the fader down on the mixer before we do anything, and just want to desolder those wires on there. You can't really see it, the camera needs to zoom in, but I need to sort that out. So I've been using a T100 with a 24 volt power supply, and I highly recommend it. Before that I was using the Hakko, and the Hakko was good. This is better, just having the controls at your finger, so much nicer, and it does handle the heat on ground planes really well. Heats up really quickly. So that's just the wires that run down the tone arm. Sorry Mr. Parks, it's the Mark 5G. My mistake. So take the phono PCB out. And then the 3 screws for the tone arm, and now we can actually take that out of the way. So I'm going to flip this back over. So that we can look at this. So we need to take the screws that hold this clamp in, and then the C-clip. And let's try not to lose the C-clip. Let's try this. Let's try bringing this a bit closer. Okay, try not to get my head in the way of the other one. And try not to stab myself in the finger. I might have to do this. Yeah, sorry, I'm going to have to do this way. So once you get your screwdriver into that little part, it comes out. There we go. Not so bad. No blood. Didn't lose it. And then this part just lifts out. And we can unscrew the base. So the first thing I want to do is clean all the grease off so that I don't get it all over my hands. Okay, same with this. There you go. Use the zoom on that instead. Okay, so let's clean all this up. The little webcam in the corner looks a bit rubbish, doesn't it? It's compressed way too much. The overhead cam's not too bad. How does it look on my screen? Yeah, I think that's just the stream bit rate's quite low. Hopefully that won't lose the stream, but I've increased the bitrate a little bit. Oh well, I'll figure it out eventually. Alright. So just some light oil on the thin threads. We don't want to wind it all the way down. We want to have a gap at the bottom. So let's move on to this. Pull that out. Lift out the lifter. And then there's 2 screws. And then that lifts out. 2 more screws. So let's give that a wipe. So we've got the 2 bearing locks. So this is what we're looking for. It's the bearings on the top and the bottom. So it looks okay. So it must be this other fitting on the side that's causing problems. But those bearings look good. There's no damage, there's no misshapen on them. So like that one, for example. That's clearly damaged. There we go. That one is even worse. Top one's pretty bad as well. The ball bearings have disappeared. There's nothing left inside. So that looks okay. They look alright. So while we've got this open, let's tighten up these 2 screws. And then these 2. The dots are clean. Sorry, I'm just trying to do it so that I can see the chat. That's better. Right, I can see the chat now. So yeah, Mike, I do use Molly. Before this, I use RC stuff because that's what I had to hand. But on the thinner threads, I use light oil, and then on the bigger threads in the middle, I'll use the Molly. But you only need to rub it in a little bit. You don't need a lot of it. And also, I have some silicone grease, and I'm just going to put a dab onto a Q-tip and just push a little bit into the bearings, but not too much, just enough to keep them loose. So it has to be this part. Yeah, it's not touching. Let's find it better. So I'll just put a new one of those in. So you adjust it with the center, and then you lock it with the outer part. We don't want to do it too tight. Normally I take it back to the point where it wobbles a tiny bit, and then lock it in place. And I adapted this bit to go into the lock. So we lock the outer ring. So that's moving freely. Okay. So thankfully there was no damage, and just needed a bit of TLC. So let's put it back together. So when we put it back together, this part, which is for the anti-skate, goes in there, and the cables go in there. So we just want to put those in that part. So we can see there how it needs to go. Two screws go back in. We don't want to over tighten them. otherwise it will just take the threads off and round the ends off, and then you'll never get it out again. Okay, so let's have a quick look at this, because that's the other reason why it might not move properly, was because that was wrong. So that's moving okay. That spring is okay. And that is okay. So I'm happy with that. So we need to feed these wires through the center. So that's through the middle. We want to make sure that the anti-skate is set to 0. And then we need to adjust the spring on that bearing to that position. I don't know if you can see it. So then when we adjust it, it moves just to the point past of that rod when the tone arm is all the way over to that side. And then as we do that, it moves the spring and it puts tension on, which pushes the tone arm over to put to take the pressure from the tone arm being pulled across the record to it being pushed onto the other side of the groove, which basically is for scratching. So the 2 screws back in. And then this lifter tensioner, which gives you that nice smooth action when it drops back down. Push the lifter back in. Screw the rest back in. Well, let's give that a wipe. That looks good. Okay, so that is that tone arm assembled. So next we need to put it back in to the black ring. Before we do that, we're just going to put on a little bit of this moly grease. We don't want a lot, we just want an even amount all the way around. So that's enough. And then when we put this back in, we want to use the red line, and it has to go in the right way. If you don't put it in the right way, so there's certain places where it will lock into the threads. So I've put this in at like 5, and as we twist it, we can see there that it will only go down to 3. That's bad. We don't want that. So we want to put it in round about the 1 position. So then it will go just past the 0. So that was good. Hopefully you saw that. And then make sure that that is roughly in the middle so that we can put this back on. And this sits on the two little nubbins. So they'll sit onto there. Put the washer back on. And then put the C-clip back on. Is there an actual tool for doing C-clips? I just use these curvy pliers. Okay, so that's back on. So we've got nice, free, smooth movement on there, and it will lock in place. So that's one tone arm reassembled. Let's just wipe the gunk off my hands. Give the weight a quick clean. Okay, let's put you back up there. Flip this back over. The 3 screws back in. Okay, then we have phono PCB. Put the wires back on. So it's black. Normally green, then red, but in this case it's brown. Red, white and blue. Okie dokie. For the moment, I'm just going to put the feet back on and test it before we screw it back together. Not superstitious, but it normally works out best to do this. If you get overconfident, screw it back together, it's always a problem. Oh, weird. There we go. That feels better. Okay, so let's try the single-sided test again. So set the weight back, anti-skate on 0, a little bit too tight. So let's undo the outer ring, take the inner ring back a fraction. Just a little bit more. That looks good. Let's lock that down. So there we go. Job done. And we still have audio. No skipping, no jumping. So I say that's good, and we just need to screw it back together. So this screw you need to be careful of. It fits into the plastic of the on-off mech rather than the actual metal. So don't take too far, otherwise you'll just crack the plastic inside. So that's it, job done. So thank you for watching this repair on that Mark 5G. It just needed some tweaking and just the bearing, setting it up properly. I have another one. I probably have the same fault, but I need to go and eat some food and see what time it is. So thanks for watching, and as I get a better setup, we'll start to do these more often. I've got a pile of techniques to do and loads of mixers as well. Should do a video showing how easy it is to change the line select switches on a DJM 500 and 600, and in case you didn't know, that was sarcastic.